Bonjour.
I'm still passionate about this. I've been involved in the street food industry now for 15 years, and I still really enjoy seeing new food traders come through. You see the passion that people have for what they do.
Yes, everyone, welcome to Breaking Bread. This is the positive Birmingham food podcast presented by childhood friends, Liam and Carl.
Yeah.
Brought together by our passion for food and Birmingham.
Yeah, sold.
I come round to your way thinking you've always been passionate about Birmingham. I've got there the last few years, haven't I?
No, I like old man pubs and sitting there just drinking beer all day, so Birmingham's always been good for that.
Yeah, that's true.
Can't knock that.
Now it's even better for everything.
Yeah, we've just got everything else now.
How you doing, man?
Yeah, buzzing. Good.
Yeah,
I like how we do this. We've been sat for 2 hours talking before we do this.
2 hours.
But they don't know this. You people at home or on the way to work, you don't know.
We've got loads going on, man. We've been so busy.
Oh, mate, I've wrote down loads of stuff to talk about before the guests, and I don't think we can put it all in, to be honest.
No, we're going to have to split it over a couple of episodes. But where you been eating, man?
Oh, it's been wicked. So we had Wing Fest, which obviously is linked into this episode, and I think it comes up in the episode as well.
Yeah, it was a co-production with Digbeth Dining Club.
Yeah, and I'm not joking, Wing Fest was fantastic. I know, when I first heard about it, I was like, that can't be a big thing, Wing Fest. And then the more it got on and I seen clips of other ones they've done, I was like, man, this is going to be fucking huge.
Because I remember, I don't know if I spoke about this before on the podcast, but when we went to the launch at Breedy's, and it's the same at all the launch, everyone's so excited and enthusiastic.
Yeah.
But then part of you is thinking, oh, hang on a minute, this is still Birmingham. This isn't London. Birmingham might not take to it as quickly as London did. I know you sell out in London, but Birmingham's
2 sessions,
different.
I thought they might struggle with 2 sessions for wings. And I'm not joking, mate. Turn up, the site's huge, and I love wings anyway. And we had spoke about this. It's the only thing you probably could do a festival on, because you get to try loads of stuff. How many wings can you get for? You know what I mean? A lot. Yeah. Especially me.
Yeah, you go to a burger fest.
Yeah.
As much as you love the idea of a burger fest, you won't eat more than 3 burgers.
No.
Not a chance.
Even if you're splitting them with someone, you're going to struggle to get through a decent amount. So this is great. You can try loads of different people's wings. For me, Greedy's were the standout as always. Greedy's are my favourite. They're massively banging wings. But they were great. Poor Boys were up from London. They were fantastic. There were so many. I could sit here just naming great wing companies.
Yeah.
They were
really
all
glad.
fantastic.
And it sold out on the first day.
Oh, mate, the one we went to was heaving. There was axe throwing. There was wicked bar. The bar was massive. There was barely a queue to get a drink. They'd thought about it a lot. There was loads of options for booze. Loads of wings. The good people. And they all took it really serious.
I love that, because it just goes. They'll go back now to London or wherever, and they'll be like, "Yeah, Birmingham, man. Why didn't we go to Birmingham sooner? We've been sleeping on our good Birmingham."
They sold out the Saturday, and I was chatting to one of the organisers, and that was the first event outside of London that actually sold out.
So they'll be thinking, we should have went there sooner, Mate,
it was absolutely. It didn't help that it was one of the hottest days of the year. That was a bit annoying, because it was. I was sweating buckets the whole time.
It just means we'll get more cool stuff, because people will hear about that and go, yeah, we should bring this to Birmingham. They'll probably love this. Just gets the cool stuff there.
Mate, it was wicked. I cannot wait for next year's if they bring it back. I'm presuming they will. But it was so much fun.
And then every year, this is the 3rd or 4th year, we've worked closely with them, done podcasts with them in the past. Beer Central.
Yeah, Beer Central's back.
That was back.
Good to see it back. Good to try some good beers. Tried loads of mate. This year I went all out. I was going all imperial stouts this year.
Go big, go home kind of thing.
Yeah, that was it.
10% or die.
Yeah. So I was all these 10%ers one. There was one from Black Iris that was fantastic, and Digbeth had a wicked one on, and it was great. And there was a lot of people there I knew. It's one of these things now. You bump into that many people, you end up knowing loads of people. So we go to an event like this, and you spend the whole time chatting, really.
It feels a little bit like an industry party with all the different brewers and that there.
It does if you go on the right night, yeah. Because obviously we've had a lot of the people on the podcast,
Yeah.
the local people, and all know them anyway. So yeah, it was wicked. Another festival. The Saturday looked really good. I went the Friday night. The Saturday looked better. I'm not going to lie. It was cold that Friday night.
Just so happened to be the first night that went down
yeah.
to 10 degrees. Like.
First cold night of since summer, and it was absolutely freezing. I was so cold. I mean, it's good. Keeps your beer cold.
Yeah.
But you don't really have much in your glass anyway, so you don't really need it.
Yeah.
No, but I think a summer vibe. I think it's more of a summer thing.
Summer
It needs to be
thing.
warmer. Like the Saturday looked great. Like the Saturday day session. 'Cause it was warm that Saturday. It was sunny.
Yeah.
I think beer's better in the sun. Oh, I went to Party of the Year.
Party of the year.
Mutt's Motorcycles.
Oh man, I'm so good. I missed
Kings
this.
Norton, their first birthday party from their beautiful site. And I mean, this is weird to say for a place that does up motorcycles and does all this stuff for motorcycles. The building's beautiful. Like, it's jet black. The inside's jet black. It's cool as shit inside. They've got a wicked coffee shop. Like, I want to buy a motorbike now. Like,
I want to buy a motorcycle.
Yeah, I
like
want
to
one of
see
their
it.
motorcycles. And it was wicked. It was organised by Belle that works there, and she's fantastic. They had 3 bands on. 3 free bands on. Like,
Yeah.
where do you go to a venue where it's like there's no charge to get in and they had bands on?
Bands
They had good food on. Like, I had disco fries and they were fantastic. I've never had them before.
Street chef is there. You know, I've had disco fries loads. Wicked, mate.
Yeah, I know. Well, I know now.
Disco fries is your side, isn't it? To go with, I don't bother getting fries from anywhere else if disco fries are there. You get your main dish from somewhere and then you go and get your disco fries.
No, I just had it was called Tika Turner. It was in
Nice.
Tina Turner. Which Vaughan had a Tina Turner top on, so I thought, oh, I've got to get them. They just happened to be really good. But they had wicked music on. Best band was Margarita Witch Cult, who I've wanted to see for a little bit now.
The videos on social look so good. I was so jealous I wasn't there, man. It looked that. It's like they're like our perfect, like they're like our soul animals, like, you know.
Yeah. That band is literally like someone just took out my brain what I want to listen to when I'm listening to rock music.
But even the
Put it on
motorcycles, like if you talk about brands that align, like ours and theirs, like, you know.
You had the bar there, you had Bailey's of Bromsgrove doing the bar. And you see them at a lot of events, and they're always wicked. They always have a great selection of beer on. Just wicked.
You said there's going to be more events coming up at Mutts.
Yeah, there's nothing definite yet, but there could be something around Christmas time, maybe.
So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, mate, I told them, put me
I
down
won't
for
be missing
anything
it
they do. I'm going to it.
I definitely won't miss that again. Not a chance.
No, yeah, I bet you were good too.
Yeah, mate, I was devastated.
A lot of fun, man. A lot of fun.
Talking about kind of big events, and we kind of touched on street food there. Today's episode, they created a street food scene in Birmingham. It's just epic. I mean, everybody knows Digbeth Dining Club. Yeah, just huge, man.
You can't say street food in Birmingham without them being involved. It's
What?
a great podcast as well, listening to like how it started and his vibe, and really like you really buy into what he says. Like, he's really convincing. You can tell he really cares.
What comes across for me is how much he loves food. I mean, it goes without saying most of the time you have to like love food to start something like this, but you'd be surprised how many people just do it for the money. He genuinely loves food, and how much he just loves meeting new traders and bringing them through, like, and following their stories and being a part of the story. Like, that's massive for Jack, isn't it?
Yeah, but all these people, like we talk about it obviously in the podcast, they start off with street food, but now half of them are restaurants that
So that's what I was
started
going
off
to
with
say. Like, you know, he's created a street food scene, and now they're creating like the kind of casual middle ground as well. You know, Baked in Brick, OPM, Meat Shack. Now you got Buddha Belly.
Well, yeah, all these places, like, he's helped get them where they are, and now they're opening restaurants. So
They're
you
all
can say he's
opening
helped the restaurant scene as well as the street food scene.
That's what I mean. That middle ground that we're always moaning there isn't enough of. We've got loads of street food, and we've got loads of Michelin stars. We haven't got a middle. These middles are coming now. Vietnam, they're all coming. They started off on the street food scene. It's hard to put into words how important Digbeth Dining Club has been to Birmingham.
Yeah.
Just an episode we've obviously been wanting to make for ages. It just took a
Yeah,
while.
on like the original list of what we drew up when we
Yeah,
first
of
started doing the
course.
podcast. Like, it was on the list.
Jack, Digbeth Dining Club, you're gonna talk to him, and yeah, you gotta, like, what's the Birmingham food podcast where it's talking to Digbeth Dining Club?
It's not, but it's
Yeah.
criminal. It's took us this long.
Yeah,
to,
it's criminal, but we got round it. COVID. I'm blaming COVID. Everyone
Yeah,
blames
COVID,
COVID.
fuck,
COVID.
come on,
I was gonna get him on then COVID, you know.
COVID's not an excuse now.
Yeah, really interesting listen. It doesn't affect the podcast at all, but it's very enthusiastic, man. He was banging the table as he talked, and it's always the way when you get people in fits. There is you might hear a bang like throughout the. Just ignore that. It does go away. You don't even think about it.
Nah, this is normally what I get in trouble for, though.
Yeah, can't normally bangs the table, but
usually doing something. I can't keep still.
You can't hold someone back when they're that enthusiastic, mate. You've got to let them go and then just apologise for the banging afterwards.
Yeah, it was a wicked podcast.
Don't let it put you off. Listen to what he has to say because it is fantastic. We absolutely loved making this episode, as we love making all our episodes. We do this podcast purely for the love of Birmingham and its food, and we really hope you all enjoy this too. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack, Digbeth Dining Club. Jack, how you doing, mate? Welcome to this show.
No worries. Looking forward to it.
Having a good day?
Not too bad. Enjoying the sunshine.
Yeah, it's sunny today, isn't it?
Very sunny. Very sunny.
I have no idea when this is going out, but this is in the middle of a heat wave.
It's in the middle of a heat wave and I've got pasty skin, so it's no good. So that's what matters.
Luckily, the studio's got aircon, some of the best aircon around because it's a tiny room.
Wow. Yeah.
So it keeps us nice and cool.
I love how you say that, like you've been around and tested all the aircon places. Like,
yeah, I have. It's
I've
a
done a
full-size
test.
unit,
This
that
is
is.
the place.
Tiny little room.
I think Digbeth Dining, everyone knows it. Just it's created a whole scene, hasn't it? Like, you know, you think back to what food was. Well, I say street food, but food in general in Birmingham was like. How did you get started, Jack?
Well, DDC was a drunken idea. I think I'll start with that story. I think I think many people have heard that one. I think fortunately, we're not advocating drinking, but it was a good idea. That's snowballed into a 10-year sort of like joke of a story, really. But I was working in sort of media production and video production, and we were filming the rise of street food in London and various other places, and came from there, really. I mean, we were seeing what was going on in various places, and it was welcome. And I was working alongside my best friend Mark, who works for a company called the Nationwide Catering Association, and they look after a lot of the food traders, the background stuff. They look after all the admin stuff, and we've worked very closely with them for over 10 years now as DDC. And we were filming this sort of like this culture that was starting to come up, and it was just brilliant. It was just like you saw these people with like a passion for food. It's like, there's a lot of old ravers that get into street food, and especially back in like the 2008, 2009 period, like a lot of it is people like, getting, towards 30 plus, maybe a bit older, going like, I'm a bit tired, but I still like to have a party and I like cooking food. So like that's sort of how it happened. And we were going to things like meat raves where you might have heard of Meat Liquor. He'd put a tweet out when Twitter was in its infancy, and I'm going to be in this car park here, and you get queues of people, there'll be some music going on, and it was just like, this is great. And it was like, right, we want to bring this back, and we were coming back to London, talking ideas, going to people, we love this street food thing, and then you get like people go, what street food? Go like, it's the future. And so then, obviously when the Rainbow was around in Birmingham, like we thought, like, right, we're going to do this, and we approached them and we said, look, we want to put on a thing called, we want to run a street food nightclub. And they were like, what the hell, street food? And I was like, it's future. And they took a punt, and they had this new space, which was Spotlight at the time, and it was an old taxi repair warehouse, and we had a little bit of space outside, and we did all this like with all my bulk media stuff, like we did all this like subliminal messaging going like street food is the future, blah 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 blah, and it sort of paid off, and a lot of foodies took attention, and we sort of collated a lot of local traders like the Meat Shack. Original Patty Men were working for Luke, like then they were coming over, like finishing at Luke, designing jeans and coming over and like setting up like things and everything like that. And we took a punt, August Bank Holiday 2012, and like, I think about 2,000 people turned up over the first weekend. I was like, yeah, we've cracked it. This is brilliant. Brilliant. Told you. It's brilliant. Everyone loves this. And then like after that, no one came. It was like we were paying our mates to come. Like, come, please come. But we persevered. Like we did every week. 2013, it was one of the worst snow blizzards. You remember it was snowing till like March, really heavy, and we were like, oh God, what have we done? Like, this is a really bad idea. And but we persevered and we carried on, did it every week, got better and better, found more traders, people got to know about it, then they started coming down, and year on, we won our first award, but the British Street Food Awards is the best event, and it's really snowballed from there. Really, I think like the local media took attention, and then we got better. We started putting on street parties. We got more traders. We got more people from around the country to come and do stuff.
What made you carry on? Like, because it must have been real tempting at the start. Just to say, "Oh, fuck it, it's not working. Let's just."
I don't know. I mean, like, you know what? I was really lucky actually, because I sort of put my media stuff on the side because I was freelance, and there was something telling us that we had to carry on with this, and I put heart and soul into it. I was really lucky. I was like, where I was living, like my friend, she didn't let me pay rent for a year, so I was able to sort of like have a go at this, and we built from there, and it was brilliant. And like, it's gone from there to, like obviously we finished that in Digbeth after 8 years, we're to the point where we're getting 6,000 people, and gone on to do everything else. So
you say lucky, but it would have been very easy for you to get. I mean, there must have been times where you were very downhearted. You were thinking, no.
Oh, 100%.
To keep going after that, that's not luck. That's
I think that, I'm still passionate about this. I've been involved in the street food industry now for 15 years. In some guys, with some guys or another, and I still really enjoy like seeing new food traders come through. Like, you see the passion that people have for what they do, and like, I think. The thing about the street food industry is like you can come from any background. Like we've had people who've worked in Michelin-star kitchens. We've had people who've like come from like they've just had a job, but they've got a passion for what they do. You look at someone like Andy from Low and Slow. He's been working with us over at Hockley, and he was just a real passionate smoker at barbecues. You have Jamie from Greedy's. They've gone and opened a place in Sturchley. He was a bin man. And he would finish his shift at 6 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is, and then go and come and set up and do stuff with us, and you hear those stories, and you can't fail to be sort of like really emboldened and sort of like interested in what these guys do, and that's what we really like to give a platform for. Like we're basically people that just try and give a platform to these fantastically skilled people. In
the beginning, there must have been some that, like, I don't want you to name names or slagging them off, but there must have been some that weren't really up to it. Like, how did you filter out, or did you say from day one? Because I remember going like very early days, and it was pitched to me as like restaurant quality food, but like on the streets and affordable. Was there something you put into place very early on? Because how did you not get like one of them burger vans from outside the football turn off selling shit?
Obviously when it was just when it was just James. So James and I are business partners on this one, and like James was one of the guys who had the venue down at Spotlight, and we joined forces and we did this. We go off and do like taste testing, doing all this. I do secret shopping, go and check out places. I mean, unfortunately, don't have much time anymore, but we've got quite a big team now, and like one of the big things is that we send the guys out. We still do secret shopping, go and check out traders. We go and do all that because what we really want to do is get the quality people on there. I mean, like. Nothing's 100%, and obviously tastes are different, but, it goes back to that passionate thing, but we also want to see what people do. And like, we've been lucky to work with hundreds of food traders over the years. And like, we see how many restaurants have come out of it, like, especially in Birmingham, and what's coming up in the future. I mean, I think it's a case of we go out and test it, and we want to, but it's not just about the food as well. We want to see like their personality come through. I mean, part of street food is the theatre, and I think that's what people people are more aware of what they're putting in their mouth when it comes to food nowadays, aren't they? And when you've got an opportunity to speak to the person who's going like, I can tell you where I've got this food from, or what's my process in cooking this. That's exciting. We want those stories. We don't want just people going like, right, I'm flipping a burger and that's it. Like we're not interested in that. You can go to a festival. Using that beef,
but there's £4 profit in it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Sound. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where it's like, so it's the word provenance, isn't it? So it's a lot of people can go off and who we work with can tell a story behind why they're cooking that food. I mean, one of my favourite street food traders is Street Souvlaki, for example. I spent a lot of time in Athens as a kid because my dad lived there, and like it's that ratatouille moment with Street Souvlaki for me. Like when there's that scene in Ratatouille where he eats food and he goes back to his childhood because of the food. Well, Street Souvlaki is like that for me because it gets that taste, and I love the story of the whole family being involved, and it's proper Greek food to me. Yeah. And I love that, and it's those sort of things that keep me going.
Do you feel a certain responsibility to these people? Because they've got these great stories and they do all this stuff, and you get you must be an attachment to them. So do you feel a responsibility for them as well?
Yeah, I mean, I've made some, we've made some really great friendships out of this over the years, and there is a sense of responsibility, and that's why we keep on trying to expand, because we want to create more and more work. I mean, what COVID's taught us more than anything is, the support that the government did, furlough and all that stuff, let's be honest, it saved a lot of businesses and it saved a lot of people to do stuff. But there were a lot of people that were left and they fell through the cracks. And that was a lot of people in the street food industry because they didn't have bricks and mortar. So more than anything, that made me realise that, we have to keep on going, create opportunities, create jobs, get this out into the wider thing. And, I think, again, that's where we create this sort of I don't like to use family vibe, but we create somewhere where we're constantly giving opportunities to people to work.
You kind of nurture them as well. If someone's falling off their rails a little bit, just turn around and say, I know you're better than this, lad.
There is a little bit of that. I mean, let's not lie. We do expect high standards. We do. We look at ways to improve things like social media nowadays. Like marketing is so important. If you want to be successful, you've got to showcase what you do. So we have sort of workshops with people and how to showcase what they do, marketing, everything like that. And how to make yourself look better online. And appeal to your customer base, because fundamentally, we know that we're good at getting people to a place, but it's your job to sell your food. So we do try and help people in that way, and we do try and help people think about ways to do stuff. I mean, we've been doing stuff since COVID. Obviously, we set up our community interest company, which is basically a charity, and we're working with Villa, for example, with the academy, where we teach entrepreneurial skills, which is all about how to market your business better, how to make it more successful. And that's something that we try and help all of our traders that are on our books too.
Yeah, I've seen that. It was you're on Match of the Day.
Yeah, I sat in Stevie G's seat, and I'm a Villa fan, so it's one of those. So
I was in
Ireland.
I was like, "That's Jack." I was like, "Jack's on a Match of the Day."
Well, we were a hodgepodge of all football fans, but I'm not going to lie, I was very happy to sit in Stevie G's seat and give it the big one.
We won't hold the fact that you're a Villa fan against you.
No.
Well, listen, Birmingham's a great place for football. Just better if you're a Villa fan.
Blues started to pick up on a few of the traders as well now. Fat snags outside the Blues and stuff like that. People just expect more now, don't they, from street food?
Well, I think what's happened across the UK, and obviously you see it, street food has now gone mainstream, and I think it's now starting to become a mark of quality. It goes back to what I said earlier. People don't want to have those cheap burger vans. I mean, if they're going down to Booker's and getting a cheap 5p burgers, and they're being expected to pay £8, it's like, well, why am I paying £8 for? Whereas you've got some of the people that we work with where they're getting food from fantastic suppliers, they're making it all themselves. It's like, well, if they're charging the same cost, well, you understand why there is a cost there, and there is a cost. Everything is going up. We're not all blind to this at the moment. Costs are going up, but if you're going to go to somewhere like the Blues and you want to have a burger or have a hot dog from the likes of Fat Snags, then you want to see that and you want to have quality and go what, I'm happy to pay those costs.
I don't know how modest you are, but the main reason everybody knows about street food and expects a certain amount of quality from street food in Birmingham is because of Digbeth Dines.
Yeah, I mean, we did, again, it's what I said earlier. It's like we want to see, every trader that works with us, we want to see a market quality, and I think the Midlands, especially, we've been recognised as having some of the best food traders, because they know if they're going to work with us, they need to up their standards. So you don't get, unless we see something that's going to make you stand out, you're not going to get on our books. So I think that's how I like to think we've helped to shape what's happened in the Midlands. But I know, talking to if you go to a lot of places around the UK, you're seeing Midlands traders popping up all over, Sheffield, Manchester, Leeds, London, everywhere. You're seeing all of the traders that work for the Midlands, because people go they're a really bloody good trader and we need to have them, and that's good to see as well.
As far as getting traders on the books, say someone come to you and they've just started up a street food business, how do they get from starting up to being at your events?
So we always advise. Obviously, we work hand in hand with the likes of NCAS, which is the Nationwide Catering Association, and what they really do is they give the support network that food traders can have. So they help with their insurances, public liability, making sure that they are safe, and that's the most important thing. And that's why we work with so many councils, because we work so close to these guys to make sure that the standards are high. All of our traders got high hygiene ratings, which is great. So we put that in place before you start. It's that's a requisite. You've got to do that stuff because it's important. We want to make sure that if you care about your business, you care about your back of house, especially when people are new to the business. We always say, look, go. There's lots of new events popping up. Go and work on these events. If we like something, we see someone who's got some good food, say, look, maybe you're not ready for us, because we know that we're going to get busy, and you might, it might scare you sometimes. If you've got hundreds of people queuing and you're going I don't know how to cook this so quickly, and believe me, my business partner James, if he sees you slow, he's going to come down on you like a ton of bricks. So you need to learn how to cope with maintaining quality, but also speed of service, because no one wants to sit around and wait for so long. I mean, like, we've had times where someone's been so popular and you're waiting 40 minutes for food and you're queuing. It's like, well, that's not a fun experience if you're coming to an event. So that's one of the key things as well. So we sort of guide people in terms of what's the best thing to do. Go and do small events, and we do some of our smaller events as well, where we sort of guide them in and and see how they operate, and we help with the operational side of things, because we do understand it. If you come to any of our events this summer, they're basically festivals every week. We run festival operations every week, and we don't sleep, but but we know what we're doing in that terms.
Well, that's it. You've got a big tour at the moment. You're seemingly you must be working so hard at the moment, because it's your 10-year anniversary and this big tour, and the tour just seems to grow and grow and grow. Like, I thought I seen a list at the original list.
That was just that was part
just
one.
That was like just a snippet of what was going to happen.
What we try to do is we like to take it and show it all around the West Midlands and parts of the East Midlands as well. There's some and nowhere's off limits, basically, because fundamentally people want a good cheap day out. Like, we've always tried to maintain our events at a cheap cost. Like 2-3 quid to come and entry. I mean, like, because like you look at so many things sometimes, and especially now, it's difficult to take your family out. If you're a family of 4, and we can say, look, it's just like we've got kids entertainment, we've got music, we've got food, we've got drink, come and enjoy the weather, and especially this summer because the weather's been fantastic. We're trying to just offer a really good product, affordable for families, and that is our demographic as well. Like, we love having families, but we love having the cool kids. We love having the older people. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's a democratic sort of process to everyone to have a good time.
Yeah, I went. You did one in Shirley. It wasn't the last one you did. It was the one before that, and it was so good. It was like a proper fun day. It wasn't as busy as well, because I remember you did one a couple of years ago in Shirley, and the queue was it went through Shirley Park, all out of Shirley Park, then all down the Stratford. Like, it was already busy inside.
Well, the nice thing, like somewhere like Shirley, I mean, like, where we host it, it's like you've got loads of houses around there, and like, it's a fun way to spend a Sunday. Like, we're going to put a little party for you guys. Come down and enjoy it. You can bring all the family. It's not going to break the bank. And you can go, it all finishes at 6-7 o'clock. You probably go off to the pubs, have a good time, or go back for a barbecue, whatever. But it's just there for a nice little day out.
That's it. The numbers at the last one were fantastic that I went to. Like, just right as well. You can get the bar, you can get the food.
That's the whole point.
It was like brilliant. How much? I can imagine Birmingham's a hard city to predict anyway, but do you do a lot of work into trying to predict the numbers and trying to work out all the logistics of it? Literally,
we spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours trying to work out numbers, like the weather. I've got about 74 weather apps on my phone. I've got windometers, we've got rainometers. It's hard, and it's part of the culture of the events and street food industry. You just don't know sometimes you're going to be affected by it. But we sort of understand what our demographic is, and again, it goes back to that case of like, we're open to everyone. There's not many. I don't know many places, and that's one of the things that has been to our benefit over the last 10 years, is like saying, look, it doesn't matter what your background is, what how old you are, whatever your thing is, it's here for you to have a good time. That's all it is, and I think that appeals to people, because it's like, should we just go and do that for a bit, And I think that's part of the appeal, really.
Well, so you can pop in, like, I'll be walking the dog and be like, pop in,
exactly.
Say a couple of hours, a couple of beers, some food, or you can go there, set up and be there the entire day and make a whole event out of it. That's what we enjoy it, and it's nice. We still we've still enjoyed doing the event build, and we've got a fantastic team that really love it, and you can see that in some of the events that we do. It's our team loves doing it.
You can see why it works from customer point of view, though. Like you're saying, just nip in with the duck. I mean, if you're going for a meal, it's a commitment, especially if you're a family. Because is the child going to be able to eat there? If they're not, you're going to find someone who's going to look after them. Are they going to like what's on the menu? Restaurants are a commitment, whereas Digbeth Dining, there's something for everyone. Everyone can just nip in.
Well, I mean, I personally, I love going to restaurants. I mean, it's definitely my hobby.
Yeah.
I have to pay for all the bills with my wife, though, so it's like I'm definitely feel it in the wallet a lot. But like, I really love the experience going to a restaurant, and sit down service. Like, you think about Birmingham, we've got some fantastic Michelin star restaurants, and I love that experience. That's a really nice. I don't go to them all the time, but it's a nice experience. You forget sometimes some people just want to go, like, especially if you're coming out as a family, and like, I've got big family. So when we all get together, like, you know, nowadays they all come down to Hockley Social Club, and I know that, like, you know, my mum loves Butter Belly, so she's gonna go and grab a Butter Belly. Like, you know, my little nephew, you know, he's 5 years old. He wants some chips or some ice cream. You know, you can go to confection. You know, and everyone can go off and do their own little thing. And I think that's lent itself as well. It's like, especially when we're in Digbeth, where we were rotating so many traders every day, which was a massive amount of work. But you know, you could come down and you could have a group of 10 people, and you know, you've been out with your mates or, you know, partners and everything like that. There's a big group, and you've got. And everyone's something different. Well, if you know that you've got 10 choices, well, you know, that makes night out easier. And I think that's where casual dining really came into it. And I think obviously that's where we found a niche in Birmingham.
I think it helped. There's probably not many times where a recession does help, but you know, think back to 2012. We were still kind of deep in that recession from 2008. So it was a lot better. Like if you wanted to go and eat out, you'd have to go and pay a fortune for a meal. You could just nip into Digbeth Dines, grab a few bits, go home.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing about Birmingham is, and like, you know, it's got, again, goes back to that thing. We've got some fantastic, you know, Michelin star restaurants, and I think, you know, five stars is fantastic and a good representation of what we got. But we didn't really have anything down, you know, like down at that street food level, and I think that's where we've really, you know, and I think I'm lucky to have been part of that, but I think we've really nailed it in terms of like that approach there, and that's why it's been so popular. I mean, I was in Manchester the other day, and like, you know, I thought we just pop up with, you know, we always like to go and see other cities and stuff like that, and they've really got like the mid-range stuff sorted. Like, you go to Northern Quarter, and I lived in Northern Quarter. I went to university in Manchester and lived in Northern Quarter and for a long time, and it was just at the start, and I was blown away. Like, you know, like every road is packed. It was lunchtime packed, but small little places, like, you know, you could get everything which you don't see outside of London. And I think that's, you know, like, you're starting to see that coming into Birmingham, which I think, you know, like, it's going to make it an even better food place soon.
I think with Birmingham we're a bit more spread out. In Manchester it seems to be in that concentrated area in the middle of Manchester, where we've got like Sturchley and
you can be in town and you jump in a taxi to go somewhere else. Like, I was in town the other day. I was in the JQ. Yeah, we'd been to the cocktail bar above Tazra's, Ikagi. I can never say that.
Ikigai.
Yeah, we were there, which was fantastic, by the way. Unbelievable. Then we came out there and we're like, where should we go? I was like, well, it's my birthday, so I was like, I want to go in the Q64. I want to go and play some computer games and Guitar Hero. So you just jump in a taxi. Whereas Manchester, it feels like you can pretty much walk to everything.
I mean, like, the city centre is far more condensed and it's brilliant. But like, you know, you think, and this is what I love about Birmingham. Like, you know, like everywhere it's got its little bit of soul for everything. You know, obviously I live in South Birmingham and spent a lot of time in places like Moseley and King's Heath and Sturchley. Like, Sturchley's got such a cool vibe, and I really love it. And I really like what's becoming of it. And it's great to see. And but then you can go to Harborne. You know, like, you know, you can go to a place like the Plough. You know, there's more stuff coming up there. There's that Hengata. You know, there's all these little things that are popping up, and they're getting little pockets of places where you can go. As you say, you can jump in a cab and go, right, I'm going to go Harborne, then I'm going to go Sturchley, I'm going to go Jewellery Quarter. They're all, you don't really get that as much.
No. Well, I said my brother's coming back he's been working away for years and years, and he's coming back to Birmingham soon, just for a little bit. He's like, where should we go out? I was like, that's such a question to ask now, because he hasn't been out in Birmingham probably for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I started laying
Didn't
all
say
these
Broad
areas.
Street.
No, oddly enough.
I was listening, watching the Commonwealth closing game when they started talking about Broad Street at the end. I was like, okay,
Yeah, come on.
moved on about
I don't think the kids even go Broad Street anymore, do they? It seems to be Bennett's Hill and places like that for the brunches.
Seems to be a lot of them all-day brunches. Everyone's doing it.
Digbeth.
But he's coming back, and it's such a loaded question now. It's like, well, you start naming areas. You know, I said Sturchley, Harborne. He was like, what the fuck would I go to them for? I'm
Yeah,
like,
you imagine someone who's not been in the
you
city
imagine,
for
like,
10 years.
like-
Say we can spend the whole day in Sturchley if we
like
fancy
King's
it.
Heath.
Like,
He's
what?
like, what? King's Heath? I don't know. I know the Hare and Hounds is good, but where else would we go? And I'm like,
that's
oh,
what I mean. Like, you know, like,
ridiculous.
I moved out of King's Heath, but like, I used to spend a lot of time in York Road. Grace and James, always a favourite.
Yeah, brilliant.
I'm not gonna lie, that little wine, like my local being a winery, it's definitely it's definitely dangerous.
No, so it's crazy. It's such a sparse city. So I said you've got couch probably. If you're in the middle of Birmingham, you're like, oh, I want the greatest cocktail in the world. You're like, all right, we're gonna have to get in a taxi now.
Yeah.
It's like you said there is a bit of a middle ground, probably still a little bit sparse. Like we could do a bit more in the middle.
Well, do you know, for example, like, you know, like we had some friends over from Switzerland last night, and like we were going like, where can we take them? Like, they were like, we don't want Italian, we don't want French, because they have that a lot. And he was like, well, let's go Tierra Tacos. I honestly think Tierra Tac is definitely one of my favourite places, and
brilliant.
what those guys are doing is fantastic. Like, and then we had lunch. Like, we went for a little staff meeting out at Trentino. Like, they are doing some fantastic things, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to do.
That Trentino. It looks
It's
nice.
I've been 3 times already now, and the
Really
pasta is really good. But you got a place like Tropea popping up in Harbin as well. That's been brilliant. Like the food is like these mid-range places like which are affordable and good nights out coming out, and I love it. It really, really Birmingham's got known as a foodie city. And we got recognised for that. But what's coming next? I'm buzzing for it. Really, I honestly am. Especially because that's not good for my belly, but but in terms of culinary experiences, it's definitely something I'm looking forward to.
A good few of them come from the Digbeth Dining scene, though, haven't they? Like your Living Baked and Brick and all them that have set up shop as a proper restaurant. Not proper, you know what I mean. But
it's exciting. You've got Yardbirds going in down in Sturtley as well, and obviously OPM, Original Patty Men, were the first ones to go off and do it, and it's great to see what they've done. And they're still successful. Shaki Meat Shack is doing well down in Chinatown as well. It's all these places, and I really enjoy seeing these guys go on to do it, because obviously, what I said before is we want to give a platform to these guys who are really talented and create great food, and if they've got the ability and they want to go into bricks and mortar, then brilliant. Like we want to see that. Just when we see it more and more, it's just I'm really pleased to see it. It's really cool.
Should be proud. Like
you've almost nurtured them, haven't you?
Yeah.
Like
no, but as I say, well, what we do is just we basically we love what they do. When we say, look, we're going to bring people to what you do, and that's what we want to see. So, and it's it's just that's something that I really like to do.
This might be a weird question, but do you have any ones that no longer do it and you kind of miss?
Hang on, let's have a think. I'm just trying to, because unfortunately with COVID, it did take out a few. I'm just trying to think.
I'll tell you, when I used to, every time it was there, I made sure I was going down for it. And I can't really say the name properly. They were French. Le Grand. Do
you know what? That was the one. Grande Viande. So actually, notice if you do miss him, so Tom, who runs it, he was actually his family run a butcher's down in Tettenhall, Wolverhampton. So they've opened the restaurant down there. So it's definitely worth going to check the food out. So their food is really good down there. And I keep on trying to persuade him to come back out of retirement, because it's I did like his food. So there's a good one,
because they didn't have any fancy branding, nothing. It was just
proper butchers doing really good food. But he does have a restaurant, so it was part of the butchers as well, so you can get the meat as well when you go there. So I'd definitely go and check it out.
I'll get my phone at the end and I'll write it down and find them. Definitely.
I feel a trip coming up.
Mate, they were incredible. Did you go to them? Do you remember
I don't think
them?
so.
They used to do the pork belly, or there was another option. I think it was shin of beef or something. They had the two.
There's some really good options.
Just get both.
Yeah, the best.
Don't argue, just get both. Yeah, incredible. If you were going to do one yourself, is the one you would do?
Well, we did sort of introduce it, because obviously I don't really, I like cooking. I like to think I do good Indian food, but my wife's Indian says I don't, because I don't cook it right. So I don't think I do. So I get told off for cooking that. But we did, at Hockley, we thought, what we need is really good cheese boards and meat boards and toasties and stuff like that. So we went and did it really well and called it R&B. So we did that.
Nice.
So it was it'd been a running joke for ages, but we sort of it just became too laborious, so we just put it to the side, set it as a site. So we sort of touched on it, but it's I don't think we'll be going into that again.
Nah, don't fancy that.
No. let the talented people do it.
You mentioned your wife's Indian.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to? Did you go anywhere for Indian? Do you have
the Desi Grill is definitely our favourite thing.
Yeah, you've been Soho Tavern.
Go Soho Tavern a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Hen and Chickens. To be fair, with Hockley, Hen and Chickens is actually our local pub. So I do get told off, because I end up in Hen and Chickens probably about once a week. She goes, I can smell the grill, haven't you? I go, no, I haven't been to Hen and Chickens. Go, you have.
Most lads go, I can smell someone's
so that's why we went Trentino today, because should we go Hen and Chickens? It's no, because we'll get told off, because we get found out. So we're all married or partnered off.
No, we're very lucky in the city for them, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's some great ones. I mean, I used to live near to Covered Wagon as well, which is another good one.
Yeah, it's probably the one we use the most, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
closer to
it's
our
great.
house.
I love it.
I love it there, yeah. Especially
it's
when the
always
football's
packed.
on as well, yeah.
It's always packed.
We used to go on a Monday night after recording. We tend to do a lot of these on Mondays, and not many places are open on a Monday, so that was a default place to go.
It
was still busy.
And it's such a great thing in the Midlands days. I mean, I think it's something that like I love about the city. I mean, we're in the Midlands as well, so that's how diverse it is. And what we've done is we've taken the guys have taken an old pub, converted it, gone like, right, what we need is football. And we need mixed grills and good pints, and it's just like the best combo in the world. Like I don't blame I can't believe not many places around the rest of the UK haven't cotted onto this.
No, I don't. Every time I see a pub close, I'm like, oh, please be a Desi pub when you reopen, please.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's great. I love it. It's not up, I'd love to open one, but I'm not allowed to cook Indian food.
I feel like all the best ideas ever are always like, oh yeah, why didn't we think of that?
Yeah.
Beer, curry, mixed grill, football.
Yeah, but it's so my brother-in-law, when he comes down, it's like we go like, oh, where should we take him? Because he lived in Shrewsbury, then he moved to Lincoln, and obviously they have that sort of thing there in those places, and I go, oh, should we go somewhere nice? And he's just like, he wants to go to a Desi pub, so it's like literally just go to a Desi pub, and he's happy, so that's all that matters.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
but then you can't be a bit of a fame as well.
What Akhtar's doing is fantastic. I love it. I mean, it's just great food, isn't it? I mean, I go there all the time if I could afford it.
yeah.
It's just the money, isn't it? Now,
yeah.
Like saving it.
It's that soft shell crab. That dish is amazing. I love it.
The potato. I love that potato dish. The one he done on MasterChef, the professionals, the final.
Yes.
Oh, that was unbelievable. That is. We kind of interrupted and then skipped everything, but you kind of finished the story where you were still in Digbeth and it was getting popular. Obviously, we know how popular it went on to be, but obviously now you're no longer in Digbeth. So how did Hockley come about, and why did you move? If you want.
So basically, we were getting really busy at Digbeth. Like we're getting 6,000 plus coming through the doors over 4 days, which is great, fantastic. But we didn't have any space, and it was like, we were doing a lot of events, and we had an opportunity. Like we were like, we were looking. We just wanted a space that we could do some of our events. Like we've done things like Sear and Smoke over the years, Taps, which is our beer festival. So we're like, rather than hiring out spaces, why don't we look at a space? We also needed an office because we're expanding with our team. And I don't know if you've heard of Javelin Block, but we'd been talking to Stuart, who has some of the really nice buildings around the Jewellery Court, and he had this space, and we've been talking for years, and came across, and it was like, well, let's move in, let's go for it. We'll carry on doing Digbeth, and then we'll have a space when we want to do Taps, when we want to do Sear and Smoke. We've got a space that we can use. And COVID happened, and it was like, oh god, and obviously everything shut down. It was like, right, well, like a lot of businesses, we had to think on our feet. So it was like, well, okay, well, what do we do? We've got traders that can't work. We've got friends who've got independent bars like Eat Vietnam, Couch, 40 St. Paul's. They can't open. So it was like, let's create like a hipster supermarket, click and collect. And it created I don't know if you guys came down, but created basically like an airport terminal where we created our own. We worked with our friends, created our own booking system, and it sort of came from that. And so we were doing click and collect, to help save the business. Like a lot of businesses, we need to find, the ability. And I think probably my happiest achievement over the last few years is that we didn't make any redundancies. It was really important. Like I wanted to maintain all of our staff, and that was key to everything that I did. That I made sure I kept people in work. So we did that, and then obviously Warwick came along. That's another story. But we realised with all the COVID restrictions in Digbeth, like, the old Digbeth site wasn't becoming achievable because obviously you had the 2 metre rules. And we worked out, well, if we do that and put food traders there, we're going to have about 40 people. And it's like, I understand why they're doing it, but it's like, it just didn't become achievable. And, from the venue's point of view, obviously they're a separate business. We were the event promoter in there. So obviously they've been a partnership for 8 years. It just wasn't becoming a viable option anymore to operate there. For them to be able to operate as a business, and for us to operate as a business, it was like, so we realised with Hockley, it was like, well, actually, if COVID happens again, which it has done, we've got a place where we can create an outdoor space. If we need to do 2 metre spacing, we can we can do that. We're still by fitting, we can still fit hundreds of people in without people being far enough apart, and we can be a bit more creative. I think, like, in a way, for me personally, I feel like we sort of got to our creative end in Digbeth. We couldn't really go any further and wanted to create something new, which was a bit more in keeping with where we wanted. So we wanted to create Hockley, where we had like a really cool, like we had food traders that we really liked. We wanted to do elevator street food. We wanted to put a record shop in with our friends at Cafe Artem and put different kinds of music. Maybe that wasn't just aimed at like a house sort of like a night out sort of crowd, because that's what Digbeth become. It become sort of a magnet, and you see what it is like now. We started to attract a lot of the hen and stag do's, and that's not really my vibe, because we still wanted it to be somewhere that appealed to the foodie crowd, and that's where we wanted to take it back. So Hockley was sort of like a vision of, well, we want to get people who are really into good food. They want to come out for a good night. I'm a little bit older. I want to see. Want somewhere where people could sit down. There was a lot of standing at Digbeth. No, we're not going to lie. So it was like a lot of seating, and we wanted to be a bit more creative. And I think you've seen it over the last year, like where we've joined up with like the likes of CBSO. Where we've said, look, let's make classical music interesting. So we've done stuff like that. We've just introduced our comedy night. We're working with some big like comedians now, and it's doing all these sort of things where we could be a little bit more creative and go like, well, you know what, we want to do that. And I think we didn't really have the opportunity because it wasn't our venue. Where we do have that now, and you're seeing that across all of our venues as we keep on opening venues. It's like well, we're putting our little stamp on it, going like, well, this is a DDC sort of like vibe that we want to go down. And it was a good time to go. I feel like it's I think not everything has an ending, but it's like I think it's good to keep on progressing and trying to change things and not sitting on your laurels.
That's it. The Hockley site's fantastic. It's quite big. The bar's massive.
It's all in one as well. Back
difference.
To the Digbeth, it was like, was it 2 or 3 separate?
So actually, it was four different venues, and obviously, it's done fantastically as Mamaroos now, and I think it's reinvented itself, and we're really pleased because it's like, James, my business partner, he still owns it, and like they've changed it into a site which is really caters to a different crowd, but I think post-COVID, maybe that crowd that we had before probably wouldn't have been into what we do. So it was definitely a time for a change. And Hockley is definitely my baby. We throughout COVID, like everyone who's involved with us, like we've hand built that site. We've had a part in building that, and it's enjoyable, and seeing people enjoy it, it's definitely a different feeling. And I think going into another decade, it's like it's nice doing different things and trying to offer something different. Like the CBSO, it's a great example. I love it. And like we have live nights on Fridays. Unique, who was one of our main performers, she's now our house band on a Friday. So we have different vibes every Friday. Like we celebrated Jamaica's Independence Day last Friday, so we had like a big reggae and dancehall sort of vibe, and it was really fun. It was really fun, and like a lot of people come out for it. But then this week it's people doing completely different vibes. So it's almost like with the food, the food isn't just the central part of it now. It's like it's food, music, and drinks. So you've got like organic wines. So there's a bit for everyone there,
and
really.
Like a little bit of a market as well.
Yeah. So we do. So
Vietnam there, Pumpkin Chances there.
So we do like monthly markets there. Like we can come in on Sunday. Like we've had like Sunday roasts. Someone's just come in and hang out, and like we've put a big focus onto our terrace this summer. We've got some big DJs. I don't know if you like Express 2. And obviously we're lucky to work with like loads of really talented like musicians and creatives and stuff like that. And we've got like the last 40 years worth of like DJs and talent coming through, playing soul, everything. It's great. It's where I want to hang out. It's where I like to hang out. So
it feels like it's kind of gone back to the reason you started it. Very early on, you realised the food's got to be good, but people don't come often for just the food. They come out for a good night.
Yeah.
And that's what you experienced when you were down in London, and you're seeing this is just an awesome night out, and now you're finally able to achieve that how you want to.
That goes back to the whole thing. Like obviously the 2 venues we've got up at the moment are Hockley, and we've got Herberts as well down in Longbridge, and we've got history in Longbridge, and like last half of our team is from that area as well, and obviously we did our CIC down there. Like if you go to I was down at Herberts on Sunday, and like you've got families down there, and you've got the garden, and it's like really nice, and you've got rotating traders, so it's like the old DDC, like you've got different traders constantly. And then but if you want to go to like more of an adult theme, you can come to Hockley. So it's like if I live in the middle, so it's like okay that way, I can go for like a nice like day out, and then if I want to go for a night out, I can go to go to Hockley.
What made you set up permanently in Longbridge then with Herberts?
Well,
Bobby pestered you.
Bobby, no. Bobby didn't know. To be fair, but Bobby is from there, and he loved to peacock around there, which is great. So it's like king of Longbridge. He doesn't call himself, I call him that. But he basically with Longbridge, like we did start doing events there about 5 years, just doing like a Saturday market, and it just was really popular. And like he's like, you know what, we should set up here, and like we've been really lucky to work with a group. St. Modwins, who are the developers down there, and they've been really sympathetic to the area. I think like sometimes big companies get a lot of bad rap, but they've been fantastic with us. And if there's certain things that people might not know, but like the shape of Herberts Yard is the old factory, is the build of the old factory at the Austin factory, and we use the old lights from it as well. And they've been fantastic to work with, and they've put a big focus on promoting the area and creating it into a community hub, and they've given us the ability to do that. And it's really nice doing it, and you can see people do it. We do a lot of stuff with the charity down there. It's nice because you think 20 years ago, we're longer than that now, because I remember like the marches when Rover was closing down, and like Longbridge has been left behind for a long time, and it's really nice to go to areas like that where like we're part of a regeneration. Like it's not just going to there's no criticism here at all, but we're not just going to Bennett's Hill. We're not just going to where everyone else is. We're going to Hockley and going like, well, we'll start that. Because 10 years ago, no one was coming to Digbeth. Now it's obviously, full of ball pit parks and crazy golf and various other things. But we were laughed at when we said we're doing that. And there was a little bit of laughter when we said we were setting up in Hockley, but we're still getting people to come down. And, going to places like Longbridge is great because it's like, I'd say, has it been sort of neglected? But there's definitely it's been left behind at points, and obviously we're seeing changes happen. So to be in there and going and seeing people going like, we're really happy having this here. That's a massive buzz, and it's more important than going somewhere and just going like it's just about money and going like, oh, we're here. But it's really great giving something to the community, and we do like in the week we hire out the space, so like it's available for people to do community stuff, and that's really fun. Because
you think for years it was just vast space there, wasn't it? All around there, and then they built the retirement village, but then they've built like thousands of houses, haven't they? Yeah, and you know what, if you start to see a growth in the area, it shows that actually, and it's what we said earlier about the fact that like Birmingham has got different vibes in different areas, and if Longbridge can have that as well, and and we see more of that happening, even more better. I mean, like we need to see investment across the whole city. And then you need cool stuff like yourselves to be there for people to be like, oh yeah, I wouldn't mind living there. Look, you can walk up to Herberts Yard. But that's it. Where everyone lives in this city, they deserve to have like things to do. Like it's not just the atypical things, like and that's what we're lucky that we get people coming from Worcestershire, but you also get people coming from other areas of the city, and it means they don't have to go into the city. There's something for them to do as well. But yeah, I don't know if it's more family. I know you said it's a more family vibe, but I definitely feel like it's a more family vibe. So I went there with my daughter. She's only 7. She absolutely loved it. But there was loads of families there, loads of kids just running about. Well, we like last I was there, so I went down there with my wife on Sunday, and like the really nice thing we've got a team down there that is all from Longbridge. Every member of staff is from Longbridge, so they're invested into it. They love it. Like, and it's like a little sense of pride as well. Going like, look, this is ours, and I love that. I really do. Hayley, who is our GM down there, and like she lives across the road, and she leads a great team, and like so you know that this is almost like a local project, and obviously we've got some of our team from Longbridge as well, and so they understand what people want to see, and there's a big family demographic down there as well, and it's lovely to see. But you can get the great thing is like you've got the shopping over there. Like if you're going to your shopping in Sainsbury's or you're going for a coffee, and go, oh, do you know what? I want to fancy some street food, and it's a bit like what we said about the events earlier. It's you can pop in, you can pop in, have a drink, get some good food, toddle off. It's free. And you've got parking as well. It's always free. When I went, it was free anyway. So yeah, and obviously it's got great parking. Yeah, was it 3 hours free? 3 hours is perfect. Yeah, it is perfect. Yeah. And you can take a run up the Lickies after. There you go. You might need to after a load of food, especially if Greedies are there at the moment. Greedies, that's what we killed us. That was. I'll just have a few wings to start with, but then I have to try everything. I'm nightmare like that. Have you got anywhere else kind of planned?
So we're hopefully we've got some other things coming up. We're looking at places like the Black Country. We're going to be doing. Hopefully we've got. We are looking at coming back into Digbeth. There's some things popping up. Hopefully. So we're just working on that. So there are some exciting plans. We want to open more places.
Do you feel a pressure that you have to be in Digbeth with the name?
Not really. I think like what COVID taught us is like yes, we're wedded with a name, but it's more of a when people say, "Oh, it's Digbeth Dining Club," it's almost like a stamp of approval now. So it's yeah. I mean, it's just synonymous with us now, and I think it's become our umbrella term. But that's why we like to give each of our places a theme, and their own identity. They're obviously part of the DDC umbrella, but they're all going to have their own stamp of their own independent sort of vibe, and each venue that we open will be different from the rest.
Do you have any kind of a classical orchestra's pretty far out, but do you have anything more far out planned for Hockley? Some kind of circus or something mad.
I don't know. I mean, we nothing's off the table really. I mean, we always like to look at trying different things. I think it's so important to do that. Birmingham is a really talented and creative city. We've seen that with the Commonwealth Games, and did you have a stone cold heart not to be warmed? I mean, I was a bit like, oh, I can't be bothered. And then we had the marathon runners run past the house, and I got really excited. And I saw it, and I said my wife's Indian, but she's Indian Kenyan, and they had when they put on they did the meet and greet the Kenyan athletes down at the Millennium Point, and I've never seen her so excited. And she got to see her favourite DJ, she was favourite from Nairobi, which is brilliant. But the you've got so many creative elements of the city. I was down at the Conservatoire watching rehearsal for some celebrating black orchestral music the other week, which is great. And that's led by the likes of the Hare and Hounds. They're involved with that sort of stuff. You've got the international dance festival. There's the melting pot of really great stuff. And what we've always tried to do is give it's what we said earlier about. It was originally about street food, but now we're going right. Well, who else can we give a platform to? We'd love to, and we want to. We're lucky that we've got the reach now. We've got the ability to say, well, shout about things that we like. And I've always enjoyed classical music, and the chance to have the CBSO in and then do reworkings of Max Richter's Four Seasons the other month, and I absolutely love that. I like Four Seasons is beautiful, but Max Richter's. Is one that reworking that he did of Vivaldi's music. It was top of the classical thing, and a lot of people got into classical music. So to be able to showcase that was brilliant. And
Max is like a gateway, isn't he? Max
got
me into it.
And it's great. And so having all that and having a space where we can go right, nothing's off the table. We want to see dance. We want to see all kinds of things. And as I say, the comedy is the next thing that we started doing. I think there's definitely you've got great places like the Clee Club showcasing it, and we want to just offer an alternative to that.
Is the Penguin still going? No, the Penguin at the top of the.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Paddy Kavanagh's.
Don't know.
On Wednesday night.
I used to go to one in Moseley. That was always good.
Yeah.
When it was at the Cross, that was always good.
Yeah, they did in the room up there.
I think they moved from there to the Paddy Kavanagh's. I think that's what they did. Yeah.
Back in the day, that was for me.
Yeah, the cross,
when I used to run around,
when I
used to run around Moseley. Yeah, the Dark Horse.
Where's that?
You might have just touched on it, but where do you see if we think of the evolution of street food, where it's come to and where it is now and how far it's come, where do you see it going?
Well, obviously we're seeing it mainstream, and I mean, I'm not going to lie, I can't stand going into a supermarket and you see street food seasoning and street food. When you go into a pub and they're going, we've got a street food menu, you're serving burgers, mate. Come on, the key is street food. It belongs on the street. It all belongs in an event. I know it's a loose term now. You could say food truck, like an Americanism, but I think it will continue to become synonymous with food quality now. A lot of street food, especially after the last recession, was because people couldn't afford to get into bricks and mortar, and you saw talented people who needed an outlet to get it. And let's be honest, you can start off with a gazebo, you can start off with a grill pan, etc., etc., etc. And we're probably going to see a lot of that again. Let's be honest, with what's going on now, we're going to see a lot of people who would potentially own a restaurant, potentially get a job as a chef. May not have the facilities or the ability to do it, but they've got a product. So I think we're almost to see a regeneration. That's my feeling. I think people are far more aware, food quality and knowing what is going in your mouth, food wise, is I think we're just going to see people just being paying attention far more to what's happening, even more than before. I think there was definitely the core scene when street food scene really took off, but I think it's going to become more and more prominent. And I think like vegan, the vegan street food scene is really going to take off. I mean, we're starting to see it slowly become more and more bigger. I mean, there's been a period where it was like it is a very big junk food scene, but I think we're seeing people really getting into like trying like different foods. Like Middle Eastern food is definitely like one of the biggest things at the moment that we're seeing.
Yeah.
So
well, you see, if I see Baja or something at an event,
yeah. I mean, their chicken wings are amazing.
I'm like, yeah, that's one of my favourite things in the city.
Mushroom chicken wings. Like, honestly, I was at a party with them a few weeks ago, and I was literally just chewing their ear off about their chicken wings.
But I see them lined up against everything else, and even I'm like, I'm getting Baja.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, like, they're great, and there's more and more stuff coming out, and I'm quite excited about that scene, really. I mean, like, if you'd said years ago, I was always a vociferous meat eater, go like, oh, meat, and now it's like, oh, quite fancy a vegan meal.
Is there anything you wish there was more of, or anything that we just don't have at all? You think, why isn't someone just doing that?
I think I'm quite spoiled at the moment. I mean, I'm just trying to think. I mean, I was desperate for really good seafood. Like, I love seafood, and like I'm really good friends with Le Petit Bois, who used to be Little Blackwood, and they do amazing seafood. And I was just like, guys, come on, like there's no one doing seafood. There's no one doing seafood, and they've come in and done it, and they are doing some amazing food. Like, like you come along, they're doing like scallops, they're doing lobster rolls, like all this sort of stuff. And I think that's been lacking. I think, but if they'd done it a few years ago, I don't think there would have been an appetite for it in Birmingham, in the Midlands, because we're a little bit scared of seafood. Like,
yeah, you can't see the sea.
Yeah, I know. It's why I love going to the coast. It's like, I literally just go mental, like I love it. But I'm really that's probably one dish I'm really like. That one area that I'm really pleased that we've got coming in, because it's and then we've got a few more people coming on who are going to be doing more seafood dishes, like Chef Shack, who's one of our traders, does like an amazing prawn dish. So there's other stuff coming, and I'm really excited about that.
Is there any you would think of
that we don't have? You know, I used to bang on about Mexican. Now we've got it.
I mean, like just mainly street food. Like, if you went Digbeth Dining, something that we just never see.
We don't see. You know what? I'm pretty simple when it comes to. I like Caribbean food.
Yep.
So I see that at most of them.
Well, leave it to Esme's and Westminster Jerk Centre. They're like they offer two different things, and like honestly, Esme's food I've loved for years. One of the sweetest people that we've ever worked with, and like absolutely like it's really good. But then you got really good jerk food from Westminster Jerk Centre. And also Adrian, he's one of the guys.
Their jerk pork is just it's unbelievable, phenomenal stuff.
Yeah, we had them. They'd come and did a monthly resident. They did a month resident for us at Hockley. And that was really good. Like, I was buzzing having that.
No, but I can't think of anything that we haven't got when I go to these places. All right, maybe I think somewhere where there might be a market moving forward, and we talked about it when we had Dan on, the winner of MasterChef Professionals. It's sort of the cheaper end of eating. So when you go to Malaysia or somewhere like this, there'll be the little markets, and they're all just doing one thing. They've only got one dish.
Yeah,
and it's like it's like 12p or whatever for a bowl, but obviously it wouldn't be that here. But that cheaper end, I think that's
I think we're starting to see a lot of that. People are offering a lot more sides, and like going like, it's hard. It's hard at the moment, like, because obviously like it's the cost gone up, and I it's all relative as well. You go to Malaysia, the prices have probably gone up, and it's all relative to the cost of things. It's just like you go to the shops, you think like cooking oil's gone up, but it's gone up by 100, like something ridiculous, like 100%. You could get cooking oil for 20 quid, now it's 120 quid or something. I don't know off the top of my head, but it is, the costs are just so
the costs are ridiculous.
And it's I think we're all going to be feeling it everywhere.
It's more like not so much the cost that's part of it, but it's just the idea that there's just this one little shack.
Yeah.
And it just does one thing.
You mean away from like street food, as in like, around town?
Just in general.
In general, yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like,
it's just one plate and it just sells that.
I remember years ago. Like, so obviously there's that Michelin star. I think it's Singapore or I can't remember. And he came over to the UK, came to London, and literally just did like a ramen bowl. That was it. And it was just amazing.
That's what we're missing.
Yeah.
But you know, is it Asia Food Hall?
Yeah,
there's some really good ramen bowls there.
Yeah,
I go in there occasionally.
Yeah, that is good stuff. Jack, you're a busy man, and we've talked like an hour. But I think it's been brilliant. Do you have any questions? Or?
I do. Luckily, I've asked them that much. I don't need the book anymore. I can remember them.
Carl has a few light-hearted questions just to finish on a lighter note.
People can get a little vibe off you as well to see what you like. What's your favourite movie?
Favorite movie? Predator.
Yes, yes. Someone finally said it.
Oh no. We have our own little groups, Predator groups. It's obsession. It's an obsession.
Yeah, it's my
wife just gets really annoyed. But I made her watch the new Predator film, which is really good.
The one on Disney.
Yeah.
Is it worth watching?
It's worth watching.
Yeah,
but I love Predator.
It's the most perfect film ever. There's no flaw of it. There's no one
Absolutely
scene that's not good. There's nothing wrong with it at all. If you were marking out of 100, I fail to see how you could even mark it down half a mark. It's impossible.
It's a 12 out of 10.
Yeah. You've made my day saying Predator. What's your favourite band or artist?
I've got a few because I've got quite an eclectic taste. So, I'm part of the old school. I've got a big fan of The Prodigy.
Yeah.
Went to see them the other week. Going to see Rage Against the Machine a couple of weeks. So all those ones. But
you going to Reading Festival to see them?
No, I'm going to Edinburgh. So going to a bit of the Fringe, and then what was that? Big drum and bass fan, big techno fan. I mean, I could name lots of different things. Basically, I wake up and it depends what mood I'm in to listen to
I know the feeling. What's your favourite food city outside of Birmingham?
Berlin. Absolutely love Berlin. I think used to go there to party a lot. Now we just go for the food. So like literally, we just go from place to place. It's just it's got a really cool like breakfast scene. It's got a massive Korean scene, which is really cool. But obviously, like who can be a bit of currywurst as well, just on the street. That's really cool. And that's like talking about food when you're walking along. Then it's just like you can get a currywurst thing and get a beer as well. It's just a really cool vibe, like really cool food scene, and it's got everything for me. Like if you ever go there, there's a place called Burgermeister. It's converted toilet, and it does amazing burgers. And it gets queues for ages. It's just on the other side by Kreuzberg. That's a really cool place to go and check out.
You said you like cooking. What's your favourite dish that you cook at home?
Well, I've already told you I get told off my Indian cooking. So I really like cooking paella, like Spanish food, like making tapas, like doing like that. So that's a fun thing to do, because I think what I love about tapas is like you get a bit of everything. So it's like I'm gonna do a bit of chorizo, I'm gonna do a bit of potato papas, I'm gonna do a paella, and then suddenly you've got about 40 dishes, and it's like, but then you can pick at everything and go like that, and it's like, oh god, I'm gonna have to fit this all in the fridge now. So but, it's still good. But I like doing that.
It's awesome.
That's you.
That's me.
Jack, really appreciate you coming on, man.
No problem, pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.